Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all in day 29 of internship program on IoT project development using industry grade microcontroller. In yesterday's session, we saw that how to control LED of ESP8266 using clients like MQTT box, default client of AWS IoT. So we controlled LED and we also sent data from ESP8266 to those clients using AWS IoT. Also, yesterday we learned how to create key store using Portacle and the tools, Java tools. Okay, so we followed the steps in command prompt. We typed some commands and created key store. So in today's session, we are going to learn how to use this key store in Android Studio so that we can integrate our application with AWS IoT. So we'll start. So what I will do, I have already written the code. I will explain this code, very simple code. So you can take this code. I will upload this code in resource material, and you can make few changes, and so that you can implement it in your own project. So in today's session, we are going to do the same things as we have performed yesterday. That we are going to collect data from ESP8266. That means ESP8266 will send some data using AWS IoT, and we are going to observe that data on Android application. Similarly, we are going to control the LED. There was one question also, how we can automate the blinking of or the control of LED using any other method. So this can be the method. So I'll just show you. So pressing these two buttons, you can control LED of ESP8266. So I'll quickly explain this project. You can simply I will upload this project in resource material. You can open Android Studio, go to files, and you can open from here. So just download and extract this project. So you implement this project in your project. So first thing, what we'll do, I will start with layout. A simple layout, we have total number of components. We can see 1, 2, LED off, LED on, 2, 3, this text view. We are going to observe the data from ESP8266 over here. And this title, 4, and you cannot see this component, uh, which is process bar, progress bar, you can see here. So what is this? We will do practically, implement it. We will run on a smart device, Android device, and then we will observe this. What is this? Okay. So first I will start with the components. The components we have added. We are using this relative layout, and after that this text view. You can see here. So this text view is set to empty text. So whenever we will get connected, so there is some when your application will try to connect with AWS IoT, it will take some time. And after while it is processing, it is trying to connect with AWS IoT, it will process a process bar in the center here. Okay, and as soon as it gets connected with the AWS IoT, we are printing here as connected. So we have written code for that in backend in main activity.java. So we will explain over there. So this is the text view for showing the status of our application. Status for we have connected with the AWS IoT or not. So that is the reason we have added this over here. Just 1 second. So there is some problem that just we came to know that our license for participants, which was more than 1,000 users, was expired just now. So only 100 participants can be able to join this today's session. So what we'll do, we are recording this session. Don't worry, everyone can watch the recorded session. So we just came to know that today was the 30th day. So last day of subscription. That is the reason it got expired. So don't worry. You can watch recorded sessions later. Now the second component here, you can see it is just a simple title. We have arranged ESP control. It is nothing to do with the backend. Next is progress bar. So it is a circular bar. So it will move into circular rounds until we get connected with AWS IoT. So it is like showing loading. Okay, we loading bar. Okay, similar to that. So it is in layout. You can see layout parent true. So it is in center, layout center parent. So its ID is connecting bar, and the visibility is currently gone. So it is invisible now. Next is this null text view. We are going to read whatever data is coming from ESP8266 over here in this text view. Okay, you can see here. The simple as that. After this button, okay, we have just added button. I have given this as ID as LED on and title as LED on. Okay, all these things are very simple. We already have discussed about these properties. Okay. We just have arranged in proper manner. That's it. So this is about everything about user interface, which is very simple. Only few components we have added into screen. And now it's time for backend. So you can see there are a lot of things we have imported libraries. You can see here. So what you can do if you want to do project with AWS IoT, I will just upload this snippet. Just copy the entire code, all the libraries, these libraries, MQTT, AWS key store helper, everything, and it will show some error. Okay, and to eliminate that error, what you can do, just go to build, and you can see here we have implementations. So just copy everything. I will upload the all this entire project. So all the files in this directory will be available. Okay. So you first have to add these files, implementation. Okay. Then it will download these libraries into application. So you can see JSON, everything is here. See, JSON is here. So likewise, after that, you can see here everything is common. We have just declared few things as string. First is client ID. You can put any client ID you want. It doesn't matter. Okay, client ID can be anything, any number, any random string, any random number as well. Okay, it doesn't matter. I have just put this one. Next is endpoint. Endpoint is our host. The host we used to put in MQTT box from here. Okay, you can see from settings, you can get this endpoint. So this is endpoint. And after this key store path, you can see SD card, Android, data, com.example dot AWS IoT LED. You can see this one, and you can see here the package name. So we have to create this directory. We can do it manually as well, and we can make it automatically as well. So you have to write some Java code to create directory into a root folder. So we are going to see what are the methods to store our key store in this path. Okay, there are several methods. The three methods we are going to today talk about. We are going to implement two of them, and I will just explain the third one. And if you remember yesterday, we have given the name of our key store as IoT key. You can see here. You can see here. We exported using Portacle this IoT key. So you have to give name of that key store over here. After this, if you remember, the password was 123456. It asked for 2 times this password. Okay, we have entered this password while creating the key store. So you have to put this password over here. It can be different for your case. Certificate ID, it is key store alias. If you remember, the name of key store alias was AWS IoT. So you have to put this over here. If I just simply open, you can see here. The last was alias name. We have to put the alias name, and we put the name as AWS IoT. The same thing I have written over here, AWS IoT. After that, I have declared the subscription topic and publish topic. To which topic I want to publish and to which topic I want to subscribe. Now you can see here, if you remember, we were controlling our LED, ESP8266 LED over this particular topic as project data command. We'll simply open the Arduino. You can see here, ESP8266 subscription topic is this project. So we are publishing data using Android application. We are publishing, this is the publishing topic. So we are publishing data over this topic, and ESP8266 is subscribed to this topic. You can see here, subtopic. So whenever we send some data from Android application, ESP8266 will receive it for this topic. And according to that, we are going to take some actions. For example, LED on and LED off. So that is the reason. And the subscription topic, we are subscribed to this topic because we are pushing data over this topic. So Android application can read whatever data ESP8266 is sending over AWS IoT. And after that, Boolean connection false. Now connection is, I'm checking that we have connected or not. Now initially it is not connected, so I have put default value as false, Boolean. It is just a log tag string. It just does not mean that much. Okay. Now the key store. Okay. Key clients, you have to put it as null. And after that, we have declared our components. The whatever components we have added into user interface. Private progress bar. Okay. Connection bar, we have given this variable name. Text view, text status, and ESP data. So you can see. So this is our TXT data. TXT status of connection with the AWS IoT. So this one and the ESP data. ESP data is over here. So initially it is null. Null means there is no data coming. And after that, we have declared the buttons, private button and on button and off button. Simple 2 buttons we have. After that, we have to declare this AWS IoT manager as MQTT manager. Okay. And after this, we are creating 3 JSON structures or 3 JSON levels. So first is main JSON, root JSON. After that, one branch or the second level, inner JSON 1 and inner JSON 2. You can give whatever name you want here. Instead of main JSON, you can write root. You can write root 1, root 2, whatever you name give, it will get attached. Okay, so we are creating these different objects. You can see there are syntax for each and every line is same. So there is only name difference of name. So we can attach each of these objects to each other depending upon our requirement. So if I want to connect under main JSON, if the main JSON is the highest level branch, under that I want to add inner JSON 2 instead of 1, I can do that. And instead of 2, I can add 1 also, and vice versa. You can interchange the levels. It depends upon you. After this, we have initialized this function, okay, MQTT manager. Okay, in Java, we cannot say this as initialization, but everyone can understand it. That is the reason I have said. So you can just say that we have initialized with the client ID and endpoint. Client ID can be anything, but endpoint must be proper, which is we have defined over here. Okay, this endpoint, host ID. After this, we just have connected our front end components with the backend using these variables find view by ID. You can see it. And then we are calling this initialize function. We'll just first go through this initialize function, whatever we are doing. Okay, you can see this function as initialize. After calling this function, all the lines inside this function will execute. So what we are checking for the key store. Okay, so first argument here, see key store path. So it will check if the key store is present inside this path. So path is SD card, Android, data, from example, this one. So we are going to see what are the methods we can add key store in this path so that our application can get connected with AWS IoT. So that is the reason I'm not going to discuss all the features. Okay, it just checks for errors if the key store is present or not. It will give various errors. Okay, if it is not present, if there is some problem with the key store. So all these things are here. Okay, you can see just an error occurred with driving certificate, everything. And after that, if everything is correct, what we are doing, we are connecting with the AWS IoT. Okay, if you have correct key store file at the preferred location at the path, we are trying to connect with AWS IoT with the client key store. And then as soon as start, you can see we have taken the status. Okay, it is connecting. It had started connecting because we found the key store. Now we try to connect. So it shows connecting. So same thing we are doing connecting bar and set visibility to view. Okay, visible. Now I'll just instead of gone, I will add visible. You can see this half circle. Okay, this will rotate in circular motion. I'll make it gone. And as soon as it gets connected with AWS IoT, we are setting its visibility to gone again. So it will be again gone. It will disappear from the screen. Okay, and we are showing as connection as true. Okay, this one, and we are setting this txt status. You can see txt status to connecting, txt status to connected. Okay. So here we will see while it is connecting, it will show connecting, and as soon as our application will get connected with AWS IoT, it will show connected over here at the top of application. Okay, if there is some problem, it will try to reconnect all these things, disconnected, connected. Okay, you can just check. I will just not go through this. These are the 2 points were important: reconnecting and connected and connecting. That's it. If there is any connection error, it will just give this error as connection error. After this, if we successfully get connected with AWS IoT, we are subscribing using this MQTT manager dot subscribe to topic, and our topic was subtopic. We have defined over here. And see subtopic. So it is connected with this one subtopic. And so whatever the data, you can see we are deserializing the data here, the JSON object. Whatever the message we are receiving, you can see So we are just putting that data over here. Just see. So I'll just show you application. You can see here first root object is user data, the second level object, and the third one is from ESP. The same thing is here. The first object is user data, and from data, and the lowest level is from ESP. We are getting that, and we are setting it to string. Okay? So there will be some problem with this using to string. I will discuss, and we have to change this to string. Okay. So whatever the string we are receiving is not in pure form. So it will have some slash n and the double quotes. So whatever the string we are receiving, we are directly displaying it on Android application. So we will not be able to see proper pure string. So instead of this to string, we are going to use different function. We will discuss it. Okay. And if there is some error, it will catch the error. And after that, subscription, there is publish. What publish? Publish is very simple. MQTT manager dot publish string data. Whatever data we are receiving over here in string or the JSON, it is definitely JSON. Payload is in JSON. And the publish topic. Okay, the publish topic is over here. So we are calling this publish function from after clicking the button. You can see to main JSON, we have added this state inner JSON. Okay, we can see we have created this structure state reported and command. That's it. And against command, you can see here we are adding the different level. To add different levels, you have to use this add. And against last or the lowest level object, if you want to add value, which is LED on in case of send button, when we click the button, then use add property. When you don't want to create more levels and you just want to add some value against that particular object, which is command, so use add property. So we have done this over here, and after this we are calling this function as publish main JSON dot to string, and we are just sending entire thing. We are converting it to first thing a string, and then we are calling this function. So it will receive this data, string data. We are giving this first argument, and it will send this data to AWS IoT broker. Same with the off button. So whenever we press this button, off data will be sent against this object, the third level object, which is command. So what I will do, I will just discuss first the methods from which can we add the key store in our Android application. First one is you can manually do it, uh, do this with, you can take the key store, this key store, you can see here in your Android application, you can take by any method. Okay, just take this key store in your Android phone. Then I'll just discuss first method. I will play the video. I have created a video for that. I'll explain by stopping. Okay, now see here, I have opened, I'm clicking on this application. Okay, now it currently says that error, key store is null. Application is not able to find the key store. Okay, because there is no key store by default. I will close the application. I will open the application again. Connection error. You can see the connection error. Now what I will do, I will download the key store file as IoT. I have already created this. Now, very important step is this Z Archiver or RAR. You must have one of the applications, Z Archiver or RAR. Using one of the application, you can access the internal files of your Android phone. Okay, so I recommend to use Z Archiver application. You can just simply download it from Play Store. I will play it. Okay, I have opened this file just already, which I have just downloaded IoT Key Store using Z Archiver. Now it is showing in the directory. You can see this IoT here in the middle as IoT Key Store. Okay, what I will do, I will just simply copy this. I have copied this key store. Now what I will do, press back again at the left top. You can see left top, this backspace. Just click on it until you will find this this menu, and inside this menu you will find this SD card at little bottom. If you see here, SD card. Okay, what was our path? You can see here SD card Android data com dot example. While I was recording this video, this file was different. Okay, in case you can just create this file. Okay, it was just for example purpose. It is general. It is different for each and every project. So go to SD card first. Then you will find Android. I already have this IoT file. Okay, and in after going into Android, you have to create this folder, which is this one. Okay, com. In my case, it was like com.shubham dot something like that tutorial. Okay, I'll just show you. Okay, by default there is no such file here. You can see in here. Okay, in S region. So what I will do, I will create new folder. I'll give the name as com dot. It was the because I have created this package in my laptop. That is the reason my name is here. So I will just simply give this name. Now I have created this folder. You can see here. Now folder is empty. I'll just simply paste it. Then I will close this. And again, I will try to open the application. Now it is started connecting. So initially it was showing some error. So I will again close the application. I will open this application. So it shows connected now. Now what I will do for just rechecking, we will just delete that file again, IoT key store from our directory. Data, scroll down, open that folder and delete. Okay, now I will again open this. Okay, it shows error, key store is null. Okay, I will pause this. I have again added this and showed. Just I will display this one. Go to SD card, Android. I have copied this again, IoT. In data, scroll down. And paste it in this folder you have created. I'll close this one again. Tutorial, and it will show again connecting. Okay, that's how you can do this. Now I will discuss the second method. So if you have your smartphone connected with your machine, I will just simply connect my smartphone now. I'll open this PC. I will connect now my smartphone. You can see here. Just you have to copy this. Okay, copy this. Go to this PC. Open your device connected. Okay, go to internal shared storage, and from here you can open your Android. You can see this Android over here, and in Android you have to go to data. Just simply find the application. In our case it was it is, I think, what is it, com example AWS IoT LED. So I will just find this one. I already have created. There is you can see here com.example.aws IoT LED. You have to create this folder. So already I have added this one. What I will do, I'll just simply run the application on my device. I will turn on the camera. I'm running this application on my smartphone. So we'll observe in real time now that what if I will just simply delete this one, because in our case yesterday we have created IoT key. I'll just delete this one. Now it is present in this directory. This key store is present. Okay. So what I will do, I'll just show you again. Okay, you can see here. Okay, it is connected. I'll run it again, this application, one more time. I'll terminate this. Okay. Yeah, it shows the connecting and then it gets connected. Now what I will do, I'll just simply delete this. Yes. Now what we will do, we'll run it again, see what happens. I'll terminate this app. Okay, you can see error, key store is null. Key store is null. You can see here. I will try to run it again. It shows the key store is null. Now what I will do, I'll keep this here and I will just control Z. So I will undo the delete. Okay, it is not getting undo. So what I will do, I'll just simply copy, and because it is external device, that is the reason. And paste it here. And so we have again added this key store file. Now what I will do, I'll again try to rerun this application. I'll terminate this one. Now you can see it shows connecting and it will get connected. You can see you're connected. So this is how, this was the second method. You can add key store in your smartphone or the Android application to connect with AWS IoT. Now there is third method, and third method is very superior than these two methods, because these two methods are manual. You have to add these two files manually. I will just be discussing about the third method. I have done it practically. So third method is automatic method. What you can do, you can put your key store file in a secure database or a server, or on a drive also, Google Drive. You can put it on your Google Drive also. And what you can do, you can check the directory. So whenever application you will start at the beginning, you check this directory. If there is key store is present with this name, then don't do anything. Just proceed with the application. If there is no key store present, then what you can do, you can redirect your application to your server or Google Drive to download the key store. It will get downloaded to a folder, download folder, and then you can simply, what you can do, again you can check for this key store in this file, and again you can, if it is not there and if it is in download folder, you can simply copy this. Okay, you have to write code for each and everything. Okay, you can simply copy this and you can put in this directory. automatically. You do not have to do anything manually. So it is little bit complicated. You just have to redirect to website. You have to download it. You have to copy it. You have to paste it in a folder. If it is folder is not created, you have to create this folder. You can do this by all by writing the code for this. Okay, I have automated this in my another project. So you can simply do that because it is a little bit complex. That is the reason I have not included in this session. So these are the two methods. Go with the second method. You just have to connect your smartphone with the your Windows machine, and you can just copy and paste the key store into a defined folder. Okay, third one is a little bit complex, but it is automated, and I recommend that. And there is fourth one using IAM console in AWS IoT. Sorry, you have to sign in. Okay, I'll just simply show you IAM. Okay, manage access to AWS resources. From here, you can give the access. You have to log in and sign up. You have to put your email ID. Okay, so using this management console also, you can connect with AWS IoT. Okay, this is also a little bit complex. That is the reason I've just included first method. Sorry. After this, what we will do? I will upload the ESP8266 code. Now we want to control LED of ESP8266 is using this application we have created. So I will simply just check we have connected. Okay, I will upload this code into ESP8266. We already have installed this application. I will just rerun it again. Okay, it is connected. It shows connected. Okay, over here. Now we'll see it is still compiling. What we will do? We'll send some data from serial monitor and see if we are able to monitor instead of null. We should be able to observe the data. And after this, we are going to control LED of ESP8266 using these two buttons. It is taking a little bit time. I will turn on the hotspot of my smartphone with the same credentials that we have in secret.h file. This be done. I will check if it gets connected. Okay, it got connected with the hotspot. It is trying to connect with the AWS IoT now with the broker. Okay, it got connected. Now what I will do, I'll just simply minimize this, turn on the camera. Sorry. I'll just simply show it over here. Is it visible? ESP8266 is visible. Okay, what I will do, I will press this LED off button. You can see LED off. It turned off. Now what I will do, I will make it on by pressing this button. Okay, LED on. It got turned on. I'll again press this LED off. You can see now we are control. Just Okay. Now we'll do it. You can see now currently LED is off. I will make it on. You can see. I'll press this off button again. You can see it got turned off. Again, I will press on. It got turned on. Simple. Okay. I'll just explain the code here. So whenever we are receiving this LED off, we are turning it off the LED, and whenever we are receiving on, we are turning it on. So in Android Studio, you can see we are off send after pressing this off send button. We are sending the value as against this command object as LED off and LED on, respectively. So that is how we can do this. After this, what we wanted to do, we wanted to receive data from ESP8266. What I will do, I will just send some random data as 1286 and hit enter. You can see instead of null, we should be able to see this number now. I have pressed enter. Okay, we have received the data. You can see 1289. I will change it to 451. I will hit it again. 451. You can see 782. 782. Now I'll give some string input hello as hello. You can see here hello. Now you can see if we are able to see this string is not in pure form. Okay, it comes with this double quotes and slash n. So how to remove this? Okay, so I'll just quickly show this. So whenever we are receiving, you can see here I already have talked about this function. So instead of using to string, we have to use get as string, this function. So it will convert whatever string is coming to a pure string. Okay, get as a string. Now we will rerun it again. Same application I'm running. I will terminate this application. Now it will install again. Succeed. It shows connecting. It got connected. Now what we will do? We will send data again. 1, 2, 3. You can see now the whatever data is coming is in pure form. There is no slash and there is no double quotes. I will put the hello as well. You can see now it is in pure form. So this is how you can control your ESP8266 send commands from Android application to the ESP8266 using AWS IoT. Also can receive data from ESP8266 back into application for observing purpose. So this is how we can do with Android Studio. I will upload this code. Now as we have completed this part, we will cover another part. Okay, this was about how we can control LED and how we can receive data into application using AWS IoT. Now I will close this. I will just close the Android Studio as well. And we are going to see how we can store our data in AWS DynamoDB. There is one NoSQL database. So we can store our IoT data in this database, and later we can download this data also for processing purpose. You can do machine learning AI using that data. Okay, I'll just sign in. So name of this database is called DynamoDB. So how we can integrate DynamoDB with the AWS IoT, we are going to see that. I'll just simply go to IoT Core. IoT Core. We are in IoT Core. Now to connect with the DynamoDB, you have to use this Act feature. Okay. We have already seen how to create things and all the certificates and policy. We are not going to cover this today. We are going to simply see how we can integrate DynamoDB with AWS IoT. So whatever the data we are publishing, it can get stored into DynamoDB database. Just simply go to Act and go to Rules. You have to create rules. It is taking a little bit. Just a second. Okay, you can see here this rule, IoT rule. I already have created this rule. We are going to create new rule. Before that, what we'll do, we'll just explore this rule. You can see here the rule query statement, the actions, whatever actions we are taking. So this was about notification. So whenever I was receiving data from ESP8266, I was sending a mail using this SNS feature of AWS IoT. If we had get some time after this session, I will also discuss this one. Now what we'll do, we'll create new rule to integrate AWS IoT core with the DynamoDB. So give any name you want. I will give as IoT DB, IoT Dynamo DB. And then you have to provide the topic name here. From which topic you are going to receive the data. In our case, from ESP8266, we are publishing to this topic. So simply what I will do, I will copy this topic. Control C. And Control V. You have to put it here. Instead of thing name, you have to put the theme name of your whatever thing you have created in AWS IoT. It was, I think, ESP8266 control. I'll just check that, confirm. Yes, it was ESP8266 control. So what does this line means? Okay, select star from this topic. So asterisk sign means, the star sign means whatever the objects are available, you want to get those objects or the data against those objects. So we'll just put it like this. You can see here. You can just go to AWS SQL reference as well. I will just open it. And after you have to add the action. Okay. Whenever you are going to receive data from this topic, what action you want to take. So our action was to set data into DynamoDB. So simply I will add this action. You can see here, insert a message into Dynamo table. I will select this and then configure action. You can see here, choose a resource. Resource means table. Whatever the table we have in DynamoDB, you have to choose here. Now, by default, there is no resource available or the table we have created. So we have to create new resource. Okay. So if you have already created the table, you can just simply select from here. And if it is not there, you can just create new. I'll click on create new. Okay. You can see here, create table. I'll click on create table. Then you have to provide the name of table. So I'll just put it as ESP data, ESP data, and the partition key as number. Now the partition key is in the table, there are multiple rows. Okay. So distinguish between those different rows to identify each row uniquely, you have to provide this partition key. And each and every time whenever you are publishing data, this number should be different. So easiest way to do this, instead of any random number, you must put here timestamp along with your payload. So because for each data frame you are sending, or the each payload you are sending to the AWS IoT, it will have different timestamp. So we can uniquely identify each and every row. That is the purpose of this partition key. So for example purpose, I'm just showing this number. Okay. Later I will show how you can properly do this. Create. Now we have created this ESP data table. You can see all the information related to this. Now what I will do, I will just go back again. You can see still it is not here. You have to press this refresh. Okay, you can see now the table name as ESP data. After refresh is complete, the internet is little bit slow. That is the reason. ESP data. Just 1 second. So because I turned on the hotspot of my smartphone, laptop got connected with that. So instead of the Wi-Fi, so that was the reason it was slow. Now after selecting this data, okay, so we'll find this table. Now you can see the partition key here, number, string, and then you have to put whatever partition key you have put here. You have to put against this dollar sign and type this number. Okay. You have to put this. This is the proper syntax. This is how you can do this. After this, these are the optional fields. And then you have to create a role. Okay. Just after doing all this process above, you have to just simply create role. Give whatever name you want to give. I'll just give name as ESP role 1. Create role. I have attached this policy and then add action. Okay, we change the topic to this, our topic to which we are publishing data. We have added this database, and then we will create this rule. Now you can see we have created this rule. Now I'll go here, and then we will just test this rule. Go to test. What we will do, we'll publish data. I'll take the same topic, control C, go to test. Now currently you can see here there are no items. We are identifying each row by this number. You can see we have put this number. So I will just publish some data, control V, and we will create our payload. Sorry, publish. So payload will be, you must add the number, because using the number we are going to identify each and every row. So I will just write as number, and then give any random number 4, 5, 6. I will add some another object as data, but the temp. And I will write as 85, give comma, enter. That's it. To differentiate each object, you must give comma after each object. You can see here I have given the comma. Okay. Then after this, just simply click publish. I will check our database. You can see here, I will just refresh it. You can see with the number we have put here, number was 456, 456. The message is this: hello from AWS console, and the number as string. This shows the database or the data type as S as string. Yes. You can see here message, number, and the temp string. But if you see, one second, you see we are not able to see this or the observe this data properly, because message is, everything is in single thing. No, it is very similar to whatever data we were receiving. So what is the difference between database and in table and rows? Okay, there are no tables. You can see a simple row, and in that single row we have added the data. So for that reason, we have to create columns, and in each column we have to add the fields or the object as message, temp, number, and then we can observe it properly. So how we can do that? I'll just simply show that also. So what I will do, I'll just delete this table. Click on delete. Okay, we have deleted this table. After this, we'll go to rules again, and we'll create new rule. I'll give you a name as ESP Dynamo DB 2. And then same thing we have to put here as the topic. I will add the topic from here, control C, and then put it here. Change it to ESP 8266 control. After this, we have to add the action. And action is, we want to, whenever we receive any data, we want to put this data into DynamoDB. So add this action. Now instead of selecting first option, we are not going to select the first option, because we want to observe this data more accurately, or you can say properly. In proper manner, we can observe this data. Instead of getting data in single line, we can observe in different columns. So split message into multiple columns of DynamoDB table. So select this option, okay, instead of first. Configure this action. Choose the resource. Now we have deleted the table. We have to create new table. So I will just create new table. Now this time, give name as ESP data 2, and the partition key will be timestamp. Timestamp. Fantastic. Yes. Now you can change the partition key data type from here. So binary, number, it can be anything. I'll just put it to string, and then just you can change the default read write. There is limit to which you can how many times you can read from this table or write to this table. So by default, you have to give extra money to enable these features. You can see by default, I will do not just change this. I will use default settings, and then hit create. Now ESP data 2 has been created. Now while it is creating, I will close this file. I have created new file. I think this one, AWS IoT DynamoDB. So we are sending whatever the string data we are sending from here. You can see the timestamp we are sending, because using this timestamp we are going to identify each and every row differently, uniquely. Okay, so that is the reason we must put this timestamp. So how I have created this timestamp? First, in NTP Connect, you can see here we have created this time. So initially, when it tries to connect with AWS IoT, it prints the whatever the current time. So I have just copied this time into this string, global string. So what is the reason I have created this global string? Because I can use this string after assigning this string. I can use it everywhere in this code. And after this, I'm just calling this NTP Connect again to get latest time, and then I've just added this timestamp again this object. So I'll just delete this one. And we'll simply upload this file. Okay, while it is uploading, what we'll do, we have created this, and then refresh this one. You'll find this ESP data to table. Now attach any role, type anything you want to type. It doesn't matter. I will give ESP 123. Create role. We have created and attach the policy. After this, add action. We have added action. So after this, just simply create rule, and we have created this ESP DynamoDB 2 rule. What we'll do, we'll simply test first. Okay. We'll test it manually. Then what we'll do, we will send data from ESP8266 as well, and we'll check that we are able to save the data into DynamoDB or not, and then we will end the session. So Control V, and after this we will create the payload. first thing very important is timestamp. It must have timestamp because it is the partition key. I'll give comma and I will add as current time is okay, this as timestamp, and then I will write the same name as the key partition key name as timestamp. After this, I will add few more fields. Give comma, add colon as temperature. Temperature as 36. Okay, I will add again one more as moisture. I will make it 56 and moisture. It has timestamp 36, 50. Everything is correct. I will change this message to hello, simply hello, and then I will publish it. I have published the data or this topic. We'll check the, you can see now under timestamp, we have created this timestamp. Under moisture, we can see the 56, temperature and the message. Now all the things we are now able to see clearly. Okay, I have done this manually. Now what we'll do? We'll do it with ESP8266. So we'll send some data as I will just type some random number as 545. I'll hit enter. It sent the data. Now to update data here, you have to press refresh. You can see here we got the timestamp from ESP8266. We received this moisture because in the ESP8266 code there is no temperature field. The only fields we will receive, okay, there is temperature but the T is small. The timestamp, small t temperature and the moisture. Okay, you can see the moisture with capital and the temperature with the small, and there is no message and these objects temperature object. That is the reason it shows empty. So what I'll do, I'll make few changes again in this code. I will just add one plus every time. I'll add this string as 1 2 every time, and then I'll copy this, control C, control V, control V. I'll change this T to capital T so that it can overlap, and then I'll make it as data. So D is capital data, and the data will just give some random numbers. So I'll put it random random, and the range will be 100, 0 to 100, and then I'll just delete this one. These many objects are enough. Okay, fantastic. After this, I will just simply upload this code to ESP8266. It is done. I'll open the serial monitor. What we'll do, we'll just delete these two rows. There is option, actions, go to actions and delete. I'll delete these two rows. Okay, now there is no row, so we can observe the fresh data. Okay, it got connected. Then what we'll do, we'll set some data as 45, or I'll just make it 18. Hit enter. We'll first observe the data in the serial monitor. You can see the timestamp as this one. Then temperature is 18, moisture and data. Data is a random number, and moisture is nothing. There is some mistake with the moisture, I think. So we'll check that. Okay, I'll just refresh it. You can see here data, temperature, and the moisture is showing empty. I have done some mistake, I think, here. I will just simply delete this one and put as random, and I'll make it 1000. I'll upload it again. So these three fields, temperature, moisture, and data, you can see here moisture, temperature, and data, and the timestamp is here. You can do whenever you will. What we'll do, we'll send few datas over here in this database, and then we'll try to download it. Okay, in the file. I'll just simply delete this one also. I'll just check. And okay, got connected. It is trying to connect with AWS IoT now. It got connected. I'll make it 89, and I'll send the data. This data can be anything. We send the data. Just observe this data. We timestamp as this. Temperature, moisture as, because it is ranging from 0 to 1000. Its value is 513. It is integer. And the data is 74, and the temperature is 89 because we type this. We'll just check with the database now. Okay, just refresh it. You can see now we can observe this data properly. If I open this, you can see this number, this one. What we'll do, we'll send some multiple data as 76. I will hit enter, and then 85, hit enter, 42, hit enter, 66, hit enter, 20, 23, hit enter, and 49, hit enter, 78, hit enter, 59, hit enter. Okay, we are sending this random data. What we'll do, I'll just refresh this. You can see all the data fields. So by mistake, it took serially read the all because I was pressing so fast. So what you can do, in you can just select this all the rows, okay, of data, and simply export .csv. You can export this file. I will just open this file. You can see how can very nicely we can observe this data. You can see. So this is how you can monitor the data after storing it in database. So this is all about today's sessions, and we have completed this. But before ending today's session, what I will do, I will just simply show the video of entire this project non-conductive liquid level measurement using AWS IoT. This video. I'll make it vertical, horizontal, sorry. I'll play it. You can see we have connected ESP8266 with PIC microcontroller, serial communication, UART communication. We have connected TX and RX pins respectively with microcontroller. Then I'm starting this. You can see now the level, initially level, it shows the 00. It takes some time to get started. And ESP8266 has also started. You can see here. Now I will open the application. I will also share this application with everyone in resource material. So liquid level measurement. So now current level you can see here 5%, 4%. Okay, it will take a second or more than a second. Okay, it will get updated. It will take a little time. I have added some diesel. You can see now liquid level has 10. We are updating same level into application as well. I'm adding more fuel. This is the sensor. You can see this steel pipe inside this bucket. It is the sensor. This IC is controller, FDC IC, capacitive measurement IC, digital. Now it is 21. It shows the 21. It will show again 18. You can see here. And then I've filled whatever fuel I have. And then you can see it is 57. It shows the 57. Now manually I'm changing the position of this sensor. Okay, I have changed the position. You can see now it shows the 14%. It will again show the liquid level as 14%. I'll again change the position. See, current level is 59. It shows the 59. So that's it. So whatever things we have learned from first session to this session, last session, we have implemented all these things, whatever things we have learned into this project, what the video I just showed you. So all the things we have combined in this video, a single video. Okay. So that is the purpose I wanted to show. We are going to share the resource material, the application of this project also in resource material. Okay. So that's it. That's it for today's session. I will end today's session, and forum is open for question and answer. And after the question and answer, Kakade sir will take over this session, today's session. He wanted to talk with everyone. Sir, for many of the is showing maximum per reach rate, try again, was because of the session was on, the license got expired. Camera is off. Please explain how to remove slash again. Slash again, just have to go to Android Studio. Instead of to converting to string, you can do it as get as string. So it will convert whatever data you are receiving into pure string. That's how you can remove the slashes and the double quotes. So simply here I will show you. You see, as we have put here get as string, before it was dot to string. So instead of using dot to string, use get as string. So it will convert whatever data you are receiving against this object to pure string. It will convert it to pure string. So this is how you can do this. It's visible. It's okay. So in between, because of the mobile hotspot, laptop got connected with the hotspot. That is the reason it was lagging. So later we changed it. What we have to do for storing large amount of data from ESP8266 of cloud. I just have showed you. Okay, how we can integrate DynamoDB with the AWS IoT Core. So whatever data will be available, you can filter it and you can store it in DynamoDB, and later you can download it. You can do whatever you want to do with it. How can I update on cloud? So I don't understand your question specifically. What do you mean by update on cloud? So all this code and whatever we have written in ESP8266, this is to just update to connect with the cloud and to update the data in Java also and in ESP in Arduino IDE also. So please elaborate your question, Amrit Muskan. Could you just say again what was the host ID in Android Studio, please? Host ID is here. You can see the host ID is here. The endpoint here, it shows endpoint. It is the host ID, and you can get it from settings. Okay, you can simply get it from AWS settings. The endpoint is, you can see here also endpoint. So simply copy this and paste it in Android Studio. So about the quiz and marks, sir is going to talk in few minutes. Got it, sir. I have asked this question before. I see next part that okay. How can I update real-time data on cloud in the last shown project? Can okay. So whatever data we are typing in serial monitor here, I was typing some numbers, random numbers. So that data you can assume it as coming from microcontroller. So ESP8266 was, sorry, peak microcontroller was sending the levels, the 56, 18, whatever the level was, and we were receiving that level in ESP8266 using this serial.read string, and we are storing this into a liquid. I have code for this. We will share that code also. Don't worry. And then we are just, instead of this timestamp, temperature, and moisture, we are putting just one object as liquid level, and we are reading that. That's how you can update it in real time. Sir, when we will get certificate? About the certificate and the winner, sir will talk now. So when I install Android Studio, after some time, it takes a lot of many downloads. But so initially it will take a lot of data. So I must recommend you to connect with a Wi-Fi. Okay. Initially, it will consume a lot of data. So just connect with any Wi-Fi available. So later, it will not, when you will be using for creating your project, it will not consume that much data. Provide information about Blank app, how to connect in offline network. See, I have not worked lot in this Blank app because it is just for project purpose. You can simply Google it on, or you can just YouTube, go to YouTube and search about the Blank app. You can just will find a lot of resources. So you can, using your mobile hotspot, you can connect with your ESP8266, and in local network you can control using Blank app. ESP8266 can be controlled using Blank app. A lot of material is available on the internet. You can simply search it, you will find. Even though after searching you will not find any material, just tell me. I will provide the resources. Any other questions? Else Kakade sir will take over now. I'll just wait for a minute and then I will hand over this session to Kakade sir. Okay. I think there are no further questions. I will hand over this session to Kakade sir.
Thank you, Shubham. Before I announce name of quiz winners, I would like to discuss few things about this internship program. Whatever content we have delivered, I think that content is good enough to develop IoT-based project at your end. And we suggested few projects to you. So you can also on your own think about some other projects and try to implement the knowledge that you gain through this internship program for development of actual project and try to deploy it physically. So our intention is to help participants to develop IoT-based project on their own, which can be practically deployed. So many projects we suggested, but many other projects are also possible. Now it's time to announce quiz winners. We have decided to give cash prizes to student participants, not to the faculty participants. There are few faculties who have scored good marks in both quizzes. So I'm going to announce name of the first quiz winner, Mr. Sanjay R. from Pondicherry Engineering College, Tamil Nadu. In quiz 1, he scored 22 marks, and in quiz 2, he scored 18 marks. His total score is 40 out of 45. Cash prize for first quiz winner is rupees 2000. Second prize goes to Mr. Siddharth Sharma. Mr. Siddharth Sharma is from KJ Somaya Institute of Engineering and Information Technology, Bombay. Third prize goes to Mr. Mihir Harishankar Parab. He is from KJ Somaya Institute of Engineering and Information Technology, Bombay. So second and third quiz winners are from same college. In fact, 3 participants scored same marks, 37. So to identify second and third quiz winner, what we have done is, we have checked time factor. The participants, those who have completed quiz in less time, they are considered for second and third rank. So in fact, 3 participants scored 37 marks. Mr. Siddharth Sharma from KJ Somaya Institute of Information and Technology, Mr. Mihir Harishankar Parab, and Vijay Kumar Srimant from NK Orchard College of Engineering Technology, Solapur, Maharashtra. However, we are going to give cash prizes to first 3 quiz winners. For next 10 participants, we are going to give certificates in hard copy. So I would like to read name of other quiz winners. Under faculty category, Professor Sujit Anandan. He has scored 40 marks out of 45. He is from Anna University. Then another faculty is Professor MD Aftab Alfam. Professor MD Aftab Alam from Ali University, West Bengal. He has scored 39 marks out of 45. Then other quiz winners are Samruddhi Narayan from JSPM Rajeshri Shahu College of Engineering, Pune, Maharashtra. Next, Atul Krishnath Dane from Rajaram Institute of Technology, Islampur, Maharashtra. Atul Krishnath, Then Deepak Ji from Puducherry Technological University. He scored 34 marks. Then Mohad Abu from Zakir Hussain College of Engineering and Technology, AMU Aligarh University. Then Professor Vishali Vijay Nimbalkar from Finolex Academy of Management and Technology, 33 marks out of 45. Aditya Ravindra Patil from Sinhagad College of Engineering, his score is 33 out of 45. Then Alvin Shaju from School of Engineering Kusat, Kerala, score is 32. Amrit Muskan from Sharda University, score is 32 out of 45. Then Professor Rajeshri Bakre from MIT SOE, Maharashtra, score is 32. Next is Shatakshi Tiwari from Government Engineering College, Raipur, score is 31. Next, Ashwayas from Coimbatore Institute of Technology, score is 31. Next, Anup Satish Mande from Finolex Academy of Management and Technology, score is 28. Once again, I read name of 3 quiz winners from student category. Prizes will be given to quiz winners from student category, not under faculty category. So first prize goes to Mr. Sanjay R from Pondicherry Engineering College. Second prize goes to Mr. Siddharth Sharma from KJ Somaya Institute of Engineering and Information Technology, Bombay, Maharashtra. And third prize goes to Mihir Harishankar Parab from KJ Somaya Institute of Engineering and Information Technology, Maharashtra. We will start sending you e-certificates from tomorrow onwards. And in our Google registration form, some of the participants have incorrectly entered email IDs. So those participants who will not receive certificates in next 2 to 3 days, please contact us with correct email ID and your name so that we can resend your certificate to you. All e-certificates will be sent on your email ID provided in the Google registration form. Second thing is, hard copy of internship completion letters will be sent by courier in next 2 weeks. All these letters, internship completion letters, will be sent to you on your college address.